In the name of God, I want to address American people. I am here to talk about the president, the most popular president of the United States in history, John F. Kennedy. I am here to relate the correct story of the assassination of John F. Kennedy in 1963. Be with us. In 1961, the CIA informed John F. Kennedy, the 35th President of the United States, of Israel's nuclear programs at the Dimona laboratory to obtain nuclear bombs, which led to a conflict with David Ben-Gurion, who was both Prime Minister and Minister of Defense of Israel. This conflict reached its peak in May 1963. Where the leaders of the United States and the Zionist regime exchanged numerous letters regarding the issue of Israeli nuclear weapons. So many that day became known as the Battle of the Letters on the George Washington University website in the United States National Archives. In fact, the beginning of these letters dates back to May 12, 1963, where Ben-Gurion, by sending a letter to Kennedy, tried to convince him that Israel's main goal in acquiring nuclear weapons was nothing more than preventing another Holocaust for the Jews by Islamic countries, including Egypt, Syria, and Iraq, which had signed the Arab Federation Declaration for the Liberation of Palestine, but Kennedy responded on May 18 without considering the issue of another Holocaust. If we believe that we will not have access to reliable and trustworthy information about Israel's nuclear programs, our commitment and support for Israel's security will be jeopardized in the public eye and the West. In his letter, Kennedy actually gave the Zionist regime an ultimatum in a clever way. But Ben-Gurion was convinced that by trying to prevent Israel from acquiring the atomic bomb, Kennedy was actually jeopardizing the survival of the Jewish state to which he had dedicated his entire life, because he believed that Israel had to acquire atomic bombs to prevent another Holocaust by Muslims. It is interesting to note that this very part of John F. Kennedy's words in the aforementioned letter is strangely censored on the official US government website under the title Declassified. Just compare the contents of the two letters and ask yourself how it is possible that exactly the same things that Kennedy said about limiting Israel's nuclear weapons were declassified. It should be noted that many Zionist lobbies intend to erase this issue from the historical memory of the people of the world, especially the American people. I told you, speaking about the most popular president of the United States, why you are not aware of the reality of the assassination of the most popular president of your country. Why you are not aware of that? American people, and consider these things to be rumors spread by the media. But reliable historical documents prove that Kennedy had a firm problem with the issue of the Zionist regime's nuclear weapons, including a letter from the Kennedy administration Secretary of State, then Rusk, to the Deputy Secretary of Defense, where Ross explicitly states, I hope, please Please listen to me. I hope that our continued programs will prevent the development of Israel's nuclear weapons capacity. More interestingly, on November 1963, just 2 days before Kennedy's assassination, his representative at the United Nations called for the implementation of Resolution 194 and the return of 800,000 Palestinian refugees, which provoked strong protests in Israeli circles. As the Jewish newspaper Chronicle of London reported, the next prime minister of the Zionist regime, Levi Eshkol, summoned the US ambassador and told him that Israel was shocked by the US request to the UN. Assassination operation of John F. Kennedy is starting. On November 22nd, 1963, an organization called the Dallas Citizens Council, a group dominated by Jewish businessmen with the influence of a Jew named Sam Bloom, arranged for Kennedy to visit Dallas, with John F. Kennedy mentioned at the beginning of his speech in Dallas. But who was Sam Bloom? Who was able to arrange for the US president to visit Dallas? The story goes back to 1960, where a landmark film titled Dallas at the Crossroads was made by Sam Bloom, which deals with the issue of Dallas school integration in those years. The film was shown more than 1,000 times in Dallas at the time and became so popular that even US President John F. Kennedy praised it. And Bloom's name became a familiar name for Kennedy, to the point that Bloom made arrangements for the US President's visit to Dallas and was appointed to head the welcoming committee for the President. In this regard, John F. Kennedy accepted the invitation of the group after this speech. While sitting in an open car next to his wife in Daily Plaza, Dallas, he was shot in the head several times and assassinated. The US government immediately identified the assassin as a US Marine veteran named Lee Harvey Oswald, despite him repeatedly stating in the cameras that filmed his arrest and interrogation that I didn't shoot anyone, and they are using me as a bait. And the photo that shows me with a gun is faked, and they actually glued my face to someone else's body. The Kennedy assassination story was not over yet when a new one began. The police officers were planning to transfer Harvey Oswald from the Dallas Police Department to another location, and Sam Bloom, with his own interference, caused the news media to film the moment Oswald was transferred by the Dallas police, which caused many reporters to line up to record this scene and caused the Dallas police officers to lose their focus on the security of the place. In this regard, the transfer operation was underway when suddenly another Jew named Jack Ruby or Jacob Leon Rubenstein surprised the police officers and took his weapon out of his coat and killed Oswald, thus leaving the assassination case unfinished. The strange thing was that after examining Jack Ruby, the Dallas police noticed some Bloom's name in his personal notebook, which means that the two people had been in contact with each other before this incident. And it is even possible that Kennedy's assassination project was planned and carried out by these two people. So, by this visible and obvious, and obvious documents, we perceive and comprehend that John F. Kennedy was assassinated by, you answer.